Welcome to Roguecast, the official podcast of Rogues Gallery, where we talk about games, comics, and other stuff on our pop cultural radar. I'm Randy.
I'm Nick.
This is Dave.
And this time out, we're going to be starting off with a book that Dave and I have read for a long time. It's in the news right now because of its creator. His creator's wife. The creator's wife is sick, has been sick for a while, but is sort of having a bad time and has medical bills. And as a result, well, before we get to that,
the book is
Usagi Yojimbo, which is a book about a samurai rabbit, and has been running
let's
for
say the name again, because that name is kind of an odd one if you haven't read it. It's Usagi Yojimbo,
which means rabbit samurai.
Means rabbit samurai.
Basically, this book's been around for about 30 years.
Yeah, has it really been that long?
It's really been that long.
Was it like early '80s
yes.
when it debuted?
Yep.
Yeah, a bunch of very small
in a
stuff.
furry anthology book called Albedo.
Yep. I remember that. Periodically, I guess that's been reprinted in the trade paperbacks,
yes,
all of it.
The trade paperbacks, it's up to, I believe, 25 trade paperbacks. It's written and drawn by a cartoonist named Stan Sakai.
And I would say it's probably one of the most, especially among creators, but also among fandom, one of the most respected books there is out there among indie comics.
It's one of those that everybody comes to. I mean, everybody comes to on their own time. Like, I didn't get into it until about 10 years ago, maybe.
Right.
It's half the book is published by Fantagraphics. I think first 8.
Yeah.
And then the rest of them are done through Dark Horse. And the nice thing is, you don't have to read these in order. I mean, he does build characters and build up stories and that kind of thing. But in general, you could pick up any given volume and read it.
Right.
It's about sort of a feudal Japan with a touch of fantasy element to it. There's magic and demons and that kind of stuff. But
for the most part, it kind of it is Japan of the Shogun era.
The lead character is a Ronin, which means he's a masterless samurai because his lord was killed in battle when a treacherous lord turned against him, basically.
Right.
And that's one of the running themes, is that lord is actually trying to become shogun.
Yes. And
Usagi is sort of working with the other houses and trying to oppose his schemes.
But he wanders and he has adventures.
And he's friendly. He's very friendly to kids.
The tone of the book is like, if you were to just flip through it, it looks cartoony.
Yeah.
It is somewhat all ages, although there's always violence.
Lots of death and violence.
But it is not bloody at all. In fact, it's almost completely bloodless.
Yeah.
But that is not to say that there is no teeth to the violence that does occur. Sad things happen. Characters live and die.
Yeah, they
indeed, in like the first issue, when his samurai lord dies, he does what you are supposed to do. I believe, does he not behead his own master or something like that?
I think so. Yeah,
and takes his head.
Yeah,
yeah. And I was like, you might feel that sometimes, like you're reading kind of an all ages book, and then suddenly these very serious things happen. Yeah. I think that was the samurai tradition to keep it from being despoiled by the enemy or something.
Well, and the other thing is
mounted on a pike or something.
When Usagi faces off with bandits or whoever else he faces off, it's always very serious. He does not like killing. Right. He does not like killing people, but he's very good at it.
Right. He's kind of man with no name for samurai.
Yeah, he's a master swordsman. And it's funny because you look at this and like there's the lead character is a rabbit, and one of his best friends is a Ronin who's a rhino, and the ninjas are bats or cats.
Yeah.
And you look at this and you think, this has got to be goofy. But in fact, it's really well done, and the characters all the animals all represent a sort of like a lot of the nobility are like pigs or pandas, or
I think so.
It's
somewhat arbitrary, but it kind of helps you to begin to see the distinct classes of the era.
Yeah.
And like I think the peasants are like, they sort of look like monkey-like creatures.
Yeah, yeah.
But they're still nice, good peasants. They're all good characters.
Yeah.
It's like, it's really not derogatory. That sounds like it could be, but it's not.
It's not, and them being animals is never detracts from it. It actually is a part of it that works.
Right. It also, I mean, he's a cool artist. I love Stan Sakai's style.
Yeah.
You know, anybody who likes anything cartoony, whether it's Disney stuff or Pixar or just whatever cartoon you happen to like, you know, Stan Sakai is like that.
He's a great guy. And also Usagi is friends in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That's right. A lot of people may have seen him. Yeah. He was a character in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Where did he appear?
He was on the cartoon.
He was.
And I know that they did
a crossover early on.
Comic in where that happened.
Yep.
And there was
Ninja vs. Samurai.
Because I had the action figure.
Yep. Well, you know, you were talking about, Randy, how this is pretty serious.
Yeah.
The first volume that I got, the first issue I got, this would have been early 90s. I just randomly picked up an issue. I was like, let's see what this comic is all about. And it was awesome. he was dealing with, is it Zato Ino?
Zato Ino, the blind swords pig.
Right, based on the famous Zato Ichi, I think, from Japanese folklore or history, maybe.
History,
even.
yeah.
A blind swordsman who has been... There have been so many different spin-offs of this in pop culture over the years, including probably Daredevil might have even had some influence. Mm-hmm. But this is a character who's been both enemy and ally to Usagi, and in the story I read... it's mostly about him. He fights off, he's a kind of a mercenary type at this point, and he gets injured doing sort of a good deed, protecting some peasants or something like that.
Yeah.
And they take him in, and he's dying of his injuries. He's got an infection. And Usagi is traveling, and he finds these peasants, and stays overnight with them while there's a storm outside. Mm-hmm. And he recognizes, oh, this is my sometimes enemy here. But he wants to do the right thing and help him. And I remember he has to get a piece of broken blade that's lodged in him out, and there's kind of this kind of somewhat grisly surgery scene, and he has to heat his sword to burn the wound close and cauterize it. And now again, they are never graphic in showing this stuff, but they're dead serious at times.
Yeah.
And yet, at the same time, it can also become kind of fun, like when he went to the kite festival.
Yeah, well, they did there's an issue they do where it's just the actual tea ceremony.
Oh, right,
and that's a fascinating read, and it's one of these things where it's a whole comic book about a tea ceremony. It sounds crazy, but it's really well done and really interesting.
Well, the book is sometimes considered kind of an educational book.
Yeah.
Despite its somewhat fantasy lensing.
Yeah.
You will learn a lot about Japanese history in there.
One of the things I like about the trades is that they do. He sort of has his notes about Japanese culture and where some of the influences were at the end, and that's really interesting.
Well, I know some teachers have happily introduced it to their kids, for instance, and I think I would have been all over that as a kid. So I think it's probably anybody out there who is an educator should consider it. And
well, what I was going to say is the reason this is sort of on our mind right now is that Stan Sakai's wife Sharon, who is two of the nicest people in comics I've ever met. Really, really nice people. Stan was here a few years back for Staple, the independent media show. I've met them both at San Diego a few times. Sharon's been really sick. She's going through chemo. She has brain tumors, and their medical bills are sort of piling up a little bit. Stan never really asked for help, but at some point the Professional Cartooning Advancement Society, something like that, CAPS, Cartooning Professional Society, decided to do a benefit book, or not a book. They basically were going to do an art auction, and all this art started coming in.
Well, because Stan is so beloved.
He's so beloved.
He wanted Usagi is beloved. Stan himself is a great guy,
and so all these pieces come. They've been shown up on Facebook. They're all amazing.
Yeah, they really are.
I believe when this is done, it's going to be compiled.
And what they're going to do is not all of it because of commercial rights and character rights, but a lot of the art. In addition to them they're going to do an auction where you can buy the original art, but they're going to do this beautiful tribute hardcover book from Dark Horse called, I think, 30 Years of Usagi. I'm going to buy it. We'll definitely get it for the store. Yep. It's going to be a great hardcover. I believe it comes out in August or September. It's in the new previews.
As I've been seeing the preview art, I'm thinking this may be the best tribute book I have ever seen.
Yes, it's amazing. I mean, these great pieces coming in from everybody from Matt Wagner to Paul Pope to independent creators.
Cameron Stewart.
Tom Mandrake did a piece that was amazing.
Tom Mandrake.
Yep.
As well as sort of smaller creators. And it's amazing stuff. It's going to look really, really good. And I already have the Art of Usagi that was basically done by Dark Horse a while back and had all of Stan's art. But this is a tribute book with lots of other people doing the art.
Right, it's kind of neat to see all the different interpretations. Some people will draw a more realistic rabbit kind of style. Or, just all these different approaches. And we were talking about the different tones of the book. The art itself, represents that, where some of them are kind of these really cool action-oriented scenes. But Tom Mandrake, who's often best known as kind of more of a horror artist, he did this really beautiful, serene one of Usagi meditating in front of a waterfall.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is some of the best work I've seen from Tom Mandrake.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be gorgeous.
Yeah.
So, highly recommend it.
It's a great cause for anybody who wants to throw in on it.
And more to the point, if you've never read Usagi, some of it's out of print right now, but you can honestly pick up any given volume. And if you need recommendations, ask me or Dave. Yeah. We'll happily recommend you some stories. And it's really, really good stuff. And it's one of those things if you've read Bone, if you've read Amulet, that kind of stuff, Usagi is in that same class. It is really, really great stuff.
Good for kids and good for adults.
Yes. To change gears a little bit, since we left Nick out of the first topic.
Oh, I do have a love for Usagi, and I know they've done several, the hardcover collections that I've always been envious that you picked up, and it's a great series.
But now we're going to leave Dave out.
It's possible.
Because Dave has not seen that everything is awesome.
No, he has not seen that everything is awesome.
And we're going to talk about the Lego Movie, which... the Lego Movie was one of these things.
You're talking about that movie that's just a big commercial for Legos.
When the trailers came out, I mean, the Lego Movie. I think everybody was like, "Oh, it's like Battleship. Why are they making a movie?"
Right.
But Lego. The thing is, Lego has become a storytelling device. There are all these great video games.
Yep.
They have all these properties, and so the Lego Movie had this great trailer.
The trailer
was a ton of fun. It's got a great voice cast. It's got Chris Pratt. Morgan Freeman, Elizabeth Banks, Will Arnett playing a great version of Batman.
Randy, you told me it was better than this other movie, but I feel like, in general, it has something of the same qualities of the Muppet movie, as I'm observing from afar.
Except it's way better than the Muppet movie.
Okay. I would put it on the level of Toy Story.
Yeah, I would too.
Really?
Yes, it's that good.
Bullshit.
It's the opening song, the song "Everything Is Awesome" is so you will stick in your head forever. It will stick in your head,
but it's also the fact that the story is good.
The story's really good. The characters are good.
The animation is flat out amazing. It looks stop motion animated because everything that is done in there looked like it had to be made from the actual Lego bricks.
Yeah.
From the smoke, the water, the fire.
3D, but they made the 3D kind of look like stop motion.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It looks like Lego, and they use all their properties. Obviously Batman, Wonder Woman's in it, Superman's in it, Green Lantern in a hilarious bit.
Yep, Green Lantern.
They bring in a couple of big licenses. Will Ferrell plays the bad guy, and there's this twist with what happens with Will Ferrell that I did not see coming. That's really likable. I really liked that.
What is there's a basic premise? The
basic premise is Chris Pratt plays this guy. It starts off. His name is Emmett. It starts off there. Everybody's conforming to Lord Business's, conform and follow the rules and build things according to instructions, this kind of stuff. Yeah. And then they meet these master builders who are various characters that they can build Legos into anything, and they're sort of nonconformist. And then the message is sort of Emmett is the special. He's the chosen one. He's the Neo who's going to stop Lord Business from destroying the world by making everything conformist.
Right.
But there's more to it than that. It's got a little more subtlety to its message.
And it's got some heart.
And they basically go on this big quest through all these different Lego worlds of the Western world and the unicorn and girls world and Lord Business tracking them down.
Unikitty. Voiced by Alison Brie.
And Liam Neeson as bad cop is the guy chasing them down.
Good cop, bad cop. God, that cracked me up.
And it starts off sort of a chosen one movie. It's unlike The Matrix, the chosen one is going to come fix this world before the conformist guys destroy it. But there's more to it than that. And there's relationship stuff. There's a question of what does identity mean and that kind of stuff. It's a lot deeper than you would think for a kids movie, and yet it's not over the heads of kids.
No.
But if you're an adult, you're going to enjoy it more.
Yeah, but it's sort of like the Pixar things, where they build in that story that is very relatable to kids.
There's a theme that's
they love
deeper.
It. And then the kids, get that theme no matter if they realize it or not.
Right.
But then the parents are actually watching something that they can enjoy, too, that they can take away. And they can actually laugh at all the in-jokes that they're making, the characters are making, or be like, that's awesome that character showed up, which a lot of people show up.
There's some neat little cameos. There's also, it's hilarious.
Have to see this movie. I was not... y'all are making me want to see it. I was kind of I'm sort of lukewarm. I like Legos and everything.
No, I understand.
It just didn't call to me.
No, I understand, and I was thinking, okay, this could be good or really stupid. And then I started hearing the buzz, and literally...
I like the trailers and stuff, too, but it sounds like it was even better than I thought.
It's better than you think. Because literally everybody I talked to who'd seen it was like, you need to go see this movie. It's awesome.
Right. Yeah. Which sounds like more the reaction I would expect. I remember, I think, when Toy Story came out, nobody quite knew that Pixar was going to be Pixar.
You didn't know quite yet. It was that big.
You might think that's a Toy Story movie any good? And you're like, it was actually really good.
Yeah, this is it. It's Nick's right to bring up Toy Story and Pixar. It's in that vein. It's in that caliber. It's really fun. It's really good.
It plays to the kid at heart. And if you love Legos, I mean, and I, a grown man, love Legos.
Well, lots of grown men love Legos.
And build them like crazy.
They have to put that on the box, Nick. This is for 4 to 18. They have to put it on the box.
That's true. But yeah, no, and it does that very well. I mean, hell, it's selling Legos like crazy. I talk to people at the Lego store, and they're like, yeah, we have to know when those shows let out because kids storm their store from the movie theater because they want Legos. Yeah. Which, sure. But the movie is fantastic.
Yeah. Really good. Highly recommended. That'll about do us for this time this week. We're a smaller show.
Make up for our mega long one a couple shows back.
That's right. So until next time, Yo Joe!